Greetings Khe Sanh counterplayers, and welcome to my second video on Campaign Series Vietnam, and this time we'll be looking at the scenario Khe Sanh, the Hills Fight. Here are the settings I'm playing with, and note that I'm using the standard fog of war. Campaign Series Vietnam has a stack of scenarios, many of them shorter, so they can test you out in various techniques, in various conditions, being on the plains, or whether you are in the hills of Vietnam like we are in this particular scenario. This video is set in Khe Sanh, April 24th, 1967. This scenario can be played H to H, or as Side A, which is the Free World or US Forces, Khe Sanh, Quang Tri Province, South Vietnam. I'm sure if you have this title, you'll know about the famous siege of Khe Sanh, which occurred in 1968, in fact the first half of 1968. So this scenario details some of the firefights that happened in 1967 leading up to that famous battle. If you'd like to read the background, press pause now. So, moving on to the mission briefing. Situation: increased North Vietnamese activity in our area suggests a growing presence. In line with this, we have been tasked with clearing the caves along the saddle of Hill 861. Friendly forces, B Company, 1st Battalion, with artillery support from Khe Sanh. Enemy forces, elements of the North Vietnamese 18th Regiment. Mission: primary, we are to clear the caves along Hill 861 saddle. Secondary, secure Hill 861 for future operations. Execution: 2 platoons from B Company are to clear the Hill 861 caves. The 3rd platoon and supporting elements are to clear Hill 700. Admin: supply levels are high at the beginning of the scenario, but expect them to taper off as our operations proceed. Command and control: weather will be mostly cloudy with low-hanging clouds. Visibility will vary lightly as the day and the battle develop. Before we get into the battle, I just want to have a quick word about map reading, and in particular the unit list display. Now, the unit info box appears when a unit is selected and the unit list display U shortcut is active. Now, this is strongly recommended for 2D play. You can have it appearing on the left or the right of your screen. Now, beneath the units is the unit list display, and this contains hex and visibility factors. Now, during play, I'm always looking at the terrain information, the specials information, the ground, elevation, and the TEM, which is the terrain effects modifier. So the lower that number is, the better it is for the defender. So in this case here, the BK stands for bunker. That has a TEM of 0.6. So these units in that bunker have good protection. This is the start of the scenario, and I'll move these units proceeding to Hill 700, which is that first North Vietnamese objective point that you can see. And I'll turn off that annoying beep so I don't drive you crazy. So going back up to the north, I think the obvious move is with these two chaps to take that victory point. And that also puts us in a trench situation, so that's nice and safe. So these three chaps, I'll move towards the more northern victory point before we get shot at by a sniper. So the damage report provides the details of the firer and its hex location. So you use the space bar to close the damage report is the best method. I hope you have noted all those hex locations of enemy firers, so when we get to the artillery we can target them. So this is why the damage report is just so useful, in that it gives you the hex address. Note that artillery is often ineffective against bunkers, as you will see by me targeting that bunker there. They're much better value against trenches, and the same for airstrikes. They're much better against trenches. Bunkers tend to be almost impervious and can only be taken by assaults. So it is usually better value when doing your targeting for artillery to select high value locations like objectives and positions identified by the damage report. I think it's quite easy to see the benefit of having the hex locations known. So I often use the map coordinates feature, which can be turned on by Alt 3 or via the menu in map. As you can see, that one's 5350, which was we were fired on, so we know to set an artillery unit on that one. And away you go. This is half the game, is figuring out where to set your artillery. I think in this hex here it's obvious to get rid of that sniper we have to assault him. 136 to 19, so I think we have a pretty good chance of victory there. I'm probably over gilding the lily somewhat, but oh well, you might as well make sure, I suppose. So this chaps here, I think I'll move those down towards the other sniper in due course. Now this guy has been here for a turn, so the AI will know there's a unit in there from their various contacts and will be inevitably attacked by a unit. You see we're in a trench there, so we're pretty safe, but you can hop out and then hop back in and jump around, and that makes it harder for the AI to target you. Alright, so there's another one at 5451, HMG, so that's something to remember for our artillery. Now here I'm thinking, do I use the artillery to attack this guy directly, or do I put it in the hex in front, 6160, because it's inevitable that this guy will move now that I've targeted him. Oh yes, I've got to move these guys. Sometimes these guys are so out of the way I sometimes forget them. Just note there that with that mortar unit he can only move one hex if he went to 5864 because it's lower down and he wouldn't have enough movement points to get up to the other side. Now I have the V visibility highlight turned on, and you can see I've daftly moved my mortar into visibility of that trench hex. Trenches are a popular place for the AI to start its units in, so I'm a bit nervous that my mortar might get bumped off there. Right, so we've located his mortar firing. Mortars are always high value targets, so we need to make sure we silence that mortar. Ooh, defender disrupted, so that's a good news. Okay. Now artillery coming in. As I mentioned, artillery is quite interesting. Sometimes what you manage to do is to get them to vacate those positions. Now these guys are going to move to 5148 in preparation for attacking that sniper in 5146. So these chaps here in the trench on the victory location. Oh, that's a surprise. That we've been disrupted by one. In fact, I think that's probably a good plan, is keep the GPMG 2 hexes away from the enemy, because they do seem a bit vulnerable. This chap is disrupted, so he can't assault me at this stage, so that's good. I was actually thinking about assaulting him in return, because his defence would be halved at this stage. But having this other chap next to him, who has an assault of 9, and if he stacked them up, it could be a bit dicey, so I decided to move my guys back into the trench. And if you have a look at that hex closer, you'll see that I'm actually at a higher elevation, so I get a defense bonus for being in a higher location. And there we go, we've taken that objective, Hill 700. So the next victory location will be the one there up in the north at 5046. I'm wondering if I should... no, we'll go to the artillery. So I'm putting artillery on these caves here, hoping to stop this other chap moving in, because the AI loves to assault, and if they get 2 or 3 units together, and you can see their assault I think was 10. Sorry, it's 9. Can be they're lethal. So there you go. The mortar's 4645, so that's his mortar, and that was on the hex that we were previously in. So that 681111 unit, that was in that hex previously. So we know our mortar's still in 4645. Here goes for my GPMG as usual. But the recoilless rifle may be a bit far away. He's in 52.48, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 must be the limit of his range. So really all he's doing is giving away his position. Right, so the AI's moved into that hex. I put the artillery on. I thought that might persuade him not to go in there, and he's assaulted me. I really didn't expect that at all. So we've lost 1 point and we disrupted our M60. No effect on the attacker, and our morale drops and we retreat. So that's our first real setback, I would say. So our obvious move here is to assault the sniper. Yep. 129. I think we're pretty safe in this assault. Eliminated. So that's a win, and the M60 I'll move into that victory objective. I think, will I? Yeah, so these two chaps here, I'm thinking about putting them back in the bunker. We've already seen quite an overwhelming North Vietnamese force, but if we get ourselves in a bunker, we might be able to wear them down, because it's hard to dig units out of bunkers. So there we go, another objective location taken. Meanwhile, down the bottom here, I'm just going to move the... Am I going to move the mortar or just fire him over there? That's what I'll do. I'll fire him over there, and I'll leave this guy in hill 700. Thinking about firing on one of those blank locations, but I think all I'll do is draw fire back. Okay. Good old artillery. A lot of this scenario really is about learning how to place the artillery, guessing where the North Vietnamese are going to go. Not that artillery's been horrendously effective in the jungle, I must say. You'll notice that maybe 90% of their attacks are ineffective. Once again, I'm putting that hex there with an artillery strike to try and prevent the AI from moving into that hex. Disrupted. This is not the strongest unit in the world, let me tell you. Okay, well, so much for that plan. The AI has moved into that hex. And this is opportunity fire, of course, because I left movement points on the units. So there's some air support coming in, so we can look forward to that. And for being on hill 700 for 2 turns, we get 100 EPs. Try and keep the pressure on their mortar. don't know what effect we're having, but so these guys are our victorious units against the sniper. Should bring them back over and we'll start heading towards that mortar, I think. .45, 46, that trench complex. Have a ping, but never that confident. It's always a pleasant surprise when they manage to get a disruption or downgrade or retreat. So we're in a bunker, jungle, 0.6. So we've got plenty on our side there as far as defensive factors go. Right, reduced by 1 and disrupted. Well, that's excellent. When they're disrupted, well, can you believe it? I got to this point and the hard disk filled up. So I'll have to end this video here. I'll come back to you probably with a second video and we'll see how some other parts of the battle go, how air support arrives and that sort of thing. I hope this is providing some entertainment and is of some use to your gameplay. But anyway, I will come back later on and we'll see how we go. So catch you next time. Bye.